And we are live. It's your favorite insurance agents, Darnold Jr.
Michelle DeSalle, the Well Tattletale.
And this is FinLit Live. This is the show where we learn about personal finances. And today we have a very special episode because we're talking all about nonprofits.
Yes.
And just tips and advice on how to get started on nonprofits. So it's going to be a very fun topic. But if you're watching live, go ahead and in the comments put hashtag live. If you're watching the replay, put hashtag replay. Also, let us know where you're tuning in from.
Yeah.
Like, are you from Houston? Where are you from? We'd love to know where our guests are tuning in from. So with that, let's go ahead and dive in and get lit. All right, without any further ado, let's go ahead and bring on our guest, Meredith James. Hey, Meredith,
Hey,
how's
girl.
it going?
Hey. It's so good to have you here. I'm excited about this topic. This is a lot of stuff that people really want to know. There's a lot of people trying to start nonprofits and have no idea or clue where to start. But you got the answers, girl.
Yes, thank you. I'm so excited to be here. It's just an honor to be on your show. Thank you.
Fantastic. Glad you're here. So tell us a little bit about yourself.
So my name is Meredith James. I am the executive director for Excel Beyond Circumstances, and we have been operating for 5 years.
Fantastic. 5 years. That's a good stretch because most people don't make that 5 years, especially in a nonprofit, because it takes a lot to operate a nonprofit.
Yes.
What I know about nonprofits is that they are organized to serve the community.
Yes.
Why don't you tell us a little bit about the angle that you chose? How are you serving your community with your nonprofit, Meredith?
So I chose to serve my community by helping at-risk youth and adults desiring a second chance. So being an at-risk youth myself and growing up in at-risk areas, I chose to go back into those areas and bring awareness so that people do not face the same dilemmas that I do.
Now, what a worthy cause, at-risk youth. I can't think of a better cause. That's amazing.
Absolutely.
Right? I had the privilege of partaking in one of your events. I took a part in the marathon for at-risk youth, and it was an amazing turnout. I mean, it was such a worthy cause. I enjoyed it. I learned so much, and I felt that I was really a part of something special. And that's what nonprofits are. When we talk about being a part of something bigger than ourselves, why don't you talk about how you begin the first steps of trying to establish your nonprofit? You knew what you wanted to do, but how did you get started?
Oh my gosh, I knew it was something I wanted to do. I used to volunteer, always do things in the community. Every summer, I used to take about 14 girls into my home and just take them skating and talk to them about hygiene and all kinds of stuff. So I wrote down things. Every time I had an idea, I wrote it down. And I had some downtime and I looked back at that notebook and I was like, this notebook is packed. So I decided I came up with the name Excel Beyond Circumstances because I have been literally every statistic. I have been in so many different circumstances and I still excelled. So Excel Beyond Circumstances is me excelling beyond so many circumstances. So that's where the name came from. It was wrote down years before I DBA'd. So I started with the DBA and I had that for a little while. And then I went and got my EIN. And then I started speaking for free at some of the alternative schools that I attended in high school. And it literally grew from there.
That's exciting. That is absolutely impressive. And yet people don't really think about how important volunteerism is. And sometimes that's where your path chooses you. Would you agree?
I definitely agree. I always tell people, sometimes we put too much thought and sometimes you just got to do it. When you come up with that idea, just do it, start working. And oh my God, your work changes you. The answers will come because I only started with the DBA and an EIN. And then I started going to the library, reading books. And then I said, you know what? I want to become a nonprofit organization. That is where all the work, there's so much work. I stayed in the library for hours and days. And my significant other, he was like, are you sure you're doing all this work after work? I literally was in the library just reading and reading. And I did it. I wrote my bylaws. I mean, it was a lot of work. And I found out years. So I DBA'd Excel Beyond Circumstances in 2017 and did not have it formatted until 2019. So I was crying. I remember crying and being scared, like, oh my God, it doesn't exist. Somebody stole my name. I hadn't had it formatted or trademarked because I didn't know. I'm starting just, from this feeling, this calling, this passion to just go, but not knowing exactly what I'm chasing. So when I went and had it formatted by the Secretary of State, it was still available. I was happy. And so now we're all the way legit, but it was definitely a journey.
You said the operative word, because when you are thinking about starting a nonprofit, the first thing that they tell you is to do your research.
Yes.
And when you said that you were in that library, and I'm
Oh,
thinking, hey, well, she was on the right path to, do the research and figure out what is a nonprofit what is it all about? What does it entail? And it is a lot of work. It's a
yes,
lot of work, and people, have that misconception. So you went past number one and you did the research.
yes.
And the second part, they say, is to build that solid foundation. How did you start to build that foundation, Meredith?
Just with a lot of research. So I started when I was at the library, I started ordering books from downtown library because I was in Channel View. I
Mm-hmm.
started getting those books and just reading the books, knowing how to market yourself, going out and being in those spaces and networking to get it. Because like you said, it is a nonprofit, knowing what portion of your money to take from it to help to not let you go broke, but to also chase a dream that you don't know how it's going to end up.
Yeah, fantastic, fantastic. Now I always have something to say. You better jump in here because I'm on this subject.
Yeah, it's a fun subject, and
Yeah.
it's actually my heart too, because my previous career before I started insurance, I helped nonprofits get started. So
Yeah.
this is a fun
Yeah.
subject. I love working with nonprofits because they have big hearts, but they're very driven, motivated people.
Mhm.
And so, what keeps you going? Because I know a lot of times, like, getting started is the easy part, but keep going, like, that could be the challenge. Like, give us advice as far as what got you started and that motivation to get you started, but the habits that you maintain to keep you going.
Definitely you have to have the passion. It have to be something that is with you, that tugs at you, that stays in your heart. A nonprofit is not for the weak at heart at all. But if you don't have that passion, you will die out. Like I was saying earlier, it takes a lot of your money. So when I started my nonprofit, it was a lot of my own paycheck going into that after paying my bills and everything, just trying to make sure it goes. Then at the end of the day, you're the secretary, you're the community coordinator, you are the founder, you're the consultant, you're everything. You're the face of the organization. So if you don't make it work, if you don't sell your own brand, who's going to believe in it? Who's going to believe that it's worth contributing to? Who's going to do it if you're not doing the work? So you got to be out there and you got to put on all five of those hats and play all five of those roles and
Yeah.
make it work until the right people come along.
Yeah.
You mentioned earlier about you got the DBA first, then you got the EIN. So then, you laid that foundation because you had that passion, so that you wanted to have something in hand. But when
Yes.
you actually are going legit and getting that solidified, talk
Yes.
about the incorporation and the state forms that people have to have in place. Let's talk about that for a second.
Filing those papers, making sure your board members are together, making sure you have those bylaws. And that's why I said it takes a lot of research because there's a lot of little bitty pieces that go into nonprofit work. Being formatted. When you're formatted, you have to have your board members, their offices, you have to have their address, their phone number, you have to have their birthday, you have to have so many little details. You have to have how you identify. So we are more of a philosophies organization because it's a freedom of speech and we help people by any means. So it's my heart speaking out freely. So I chose to be more of a philosophies organization. And humanities. It's so many different titles that you can identify with, and sometimes it can be overwhelming. Part C this, part B that, and so it takes a lot of research because sometimes when you come from an area where no one has that expertise and no one knows exactly what a nonprofit entails, you have to do the work because there is no one to ask. You don't
Yes.
know what direction to take. So if you don't know, you just have to sit there and watch videos and order these books and fiddle around in the library and get you somebody in the library that, has that passion or have the knowledge to lead you in the right direction.
Mm.
It's very different. I remember going to my pastor and talking to her about a nonprofit because what we know is, hey, churches are nonprofit.
Yeah.
Very different.
Different.
Very
Mhm.
different. Nowhere near the same. It is just, it's very tedious. I remember giving up 100,000 times, and my board member, Andre Benjamin, shout out Andre, he was very helpful through the whole process. I remember crying, walking away, saying I can't do it. But I just kept going, and you do need a great support system. A great support system. It's definitely a lot. Knowing how to choose a sole proprietor. When you turn your EIN into a nonprofit, it becomes an S corporation. It's just so much that your brain is learning and trying to process and trying to do, and then the verbiage. Reading that verbiage is like reading the King James version and state law on steroids. It's a lot. It is definitely a lot.
I love that analogy. I love that analogy. That is so on point and so funny. You're about to
So,
say.
do you have a team in place as far as do you have an attorney? Do you have an accountant? Like, who helped you with the formation process?
So actually, I did everything myself. Now
Wow.
I have, yeah, it was a lot
Impressive.
of work. It was a lot of work. I tell people it literally was all me. And like I say, my board member, Andre Benjamin, telling me that I can do it, and two of my best friends telling me that I can do it. But those countless hours in the library, that's where it came from. I'm literally self-taught. I can give that knowledge, consult that out because I learned it firsthand.
But knowing what you know now, I mean, you wouldn't advise a person to, get it out the mud, so to speak, because now you know how to, as you said, consult and kind of guide them in a direction that
Yes.
would not would allow them to miss some pitfalls. And so, one of the intricate parts that I want you to talk about now is filing for federal tax exempt status.
Yes.
That's a big deal. And talk about that journey of doing that.
So filing for your tax exempt status is very difficult. It is also costly. It is not free. I think filing for my tax exemption was $675. I filed. There are different ways that you can do it. So I filed a easy. What's it? I can't remember the exact form that I filed, but it takes about 30 to 90 days before that they can approve your nonprofit to be exempt. But before that they can do that, you have to have all your bylaws, all your board members. You
Right,
have to
right,
be formatted. That formation is a whole different paper that needs to be filed to the Secretary of State. So once you get that, then you can move forward with the nonprofit status. And it's
right.
just your EIN being turned over. It's the same EIN that they give you, but it converts over to a S corporation. And
Right.
that's how you gain the nonprofit status.
So what you're saying is this is not going to happen overnight.
No, not at all. And you're sitting there waiting on the mail, like, am I a nonprofit yet? I'm waiting on the letter. So it's a lot. I
So,
hope I answered your question.
Absolutely,
Right.
absolutely.
Yeah,
so
because
one of
it's
the big struggles for most nonprofits is funding. Speak
oh,
on that. Like, how are you able to get funded? What are your different sources and sponsorships? What are some
so
creative ideas to fund your nonprofit?
that is the biggest thing because the key word is it is a non-profit. Profit in anything. You have this heart that's bigger than life. You're going out here and you're mentoring people and you're burning gas and you're giving out business cards that cost money.
Yeah.
You're doing a lot, setting up events. You're buying tables. You're giving away backpacks. I remember my first event. I gave away 150 backpacks with school
Wow.
supplies. That was all out of my paycheck. I have been blessed to have people see my diligence, and this is very humbling for me. Uh, my first sponsor was my job, SET Environmental. They still are. They're a partner now. I just remember going to work. I'm a chemical plant bum, came from the chemical plant, was the only female in the plant, going to work, doing my job. And, you never know who's watching you. And I went back for funding. And I remember my old supervisor saying, I remember you coming to work and doing your job. And you were always having a smile on your face. And they started me off monthly check every month. This year,
Wow.
we're in negotiation for them becoming a partner. They actually took one of their managers and put on my board. So
Nice. Congratulations.
yeah,
Yes.
it's yeah. Your heart, if you do it with the right heart, driven, diligent. When you think nobody's watching, continue to work, continue to do what you feel like nobody's recognizing, and trust me, somebody's watching.
Oh,
that's so
what
encouraging.
great insight. That is absolutely inspiring. So now we have the nonprofit. We have spent our money. We've spent countless hours researching. We have
Yes.
filed the right paperwork. We are nonprofit status. But, and we hear this, we've heard this a lot with nonprofits, they run into trouble. Because
Yes.
now you're able to go to these corporations and you get these donations and blah, 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 and everything is looking good. And with a nonprofit, people can donate lots of money.
Yes.
But talk about that ongoing compliance that is so necessary, honey.
So I actually just hit an obstacle. So we knew, being in my tax lady, I'm probably going to have to get a CPA to file a Schedule C. But we did not know to file the 990. So that is something that we're learning. Is so many different pieces. And we wonder, why were we getting audited every year? We had to account for every dollar. And this is one thing about learning, like you said, to get it out the mud, you learn by different obstacles. We wasn't filing that 990. So we had to go back and file that. And it's so many different pieces. So to file that means that the board members that you have, address and everything, they go on your tax return every year, whether they are paid a stipend, whether they're paid regardless, even if they make $0, you have to report that. So it's steady learning. It's ongoing.
Wow.
Absolutely. And it's fascinating because the 990s are public information.
Yeah.
So anybody literally could go on irs.gov and look up any nonprofit's information. So it's actually fascinating reading through those and seeing, like, one of the things that actually shocked me was the Houston Food Bank and how much money they're bringing in. I was just like, wow. If you don't know, go to irs.gov and look up their 990 and you'll be blown away how much money they bring in.
Yes.
But one of the main ways of funding for a lot of nonprofits is grants. Like, have you explored that avenue? How's that going for you?
So I am new to the grant world. I have actually had people put me up for grants. So like I said, I'm branching off into that. I'm actually reading a book right now called Grant Writing for Dummies. I live in the library. If I can read it, I feel like I can accomplish it. Self-taught, but that's just something I love learning. So sometimes, it's easier to pay somebody and just get it done, but I love learning. So that is really big to me, to always have that knowledge, because with me being a CEO, I want to be able to know, when I become this multi-billion-dollar company, I want to know what everybody's job is. I want to know how that feels so I can relate to my employees, because I don't want to be one of those people that I don't understand. You can just do this in 5 minutes and it should be done. I don't want to become that person. I want to remain humble as a billionaire. But yeah, so I'm learning that right now. All the little pieces and everything that it goes into to make it move.
Can I give a piece of advice?
Yes.
So it's not necessarily about what's in the proposal, but it's about who you know. So it's who you know that's on that grant board. It's all about connections.
I believe that.
Yeah.
I'm learning that right now. Like, I'm so glad you said that. So with oh my God, you said so much, because I'm out here, I'm working hard, I'm diligent, and people are recognizing. People are reaching out. My donations are going up. I had the Harris County Mud District, where I live, to put me up for a Case Kids grant. I actually had the Harris County Jail put me up for a reentry grant. So to be in these spaces where people feel like your organization is grant worthy is amazing, because it's what they'll vouch for you. And you're right, it is who you know. And for me to start off, and I just want to go back here, and this is where my joy come from. I started speaking at High Point High School for free. I walked in there for free, and I was recognized by the police department, the sheriff department.
Wow.
And the sheriff department referred me to the Harris County Jail. And the Harris County Jail referred me to the county courts. And then the fire department noticed me there. And then Galena Park noticed me there. All from me speaking at an alternative school, my career shot off.
Nice.
Literally, I am in some space right now. I even have a job working for Tarsha Jackson for her nonprofit organization, Urban Community Network. And I'm the lead credible messenger there. So my work precedes me. And it's amazing when that passion hits the streets before you do. And now I walk in a room and they're like, Excel Beyond Circumstances. I'm like, yeah, that's me.
That's awesome. Yeah, you can definitely hear the passion in your voice, and it's super exciting.
Yes.
So we do have a couple of questions from the audience, so let's go ahead and get those.
Okay.
Let's see. So Rochelle Bell says, why did you choose nonprofit instead of for-profit?
I chose a nonprofit because, and this is a little corny story. Every Christmas we sit in front of our TV and we see a couple commercials. We see St. Jude's, we see Habitat for Humanity, we see Red Cross, but we don't see anybody else. And I was a victim of Harvey, and this is what really got me. This is why I DBA'd in 2017. Love Habitat for Humanity, not trying to talk about them. They're a nonprofit. Definitely want to be like you guys. Very inspired. The funds sometimes that they got did not make it to us as a Habitat homeowner. It was very heartbreaking, even though I appreciate owning a Habitat home because it is for low income. And I was able to go to college, raise my kids. It is a starter home. It helped me start. Great opportunity. Kudos, Habitat for Humanity. When Harvey came, I remember evacuating out August 28th, and they didn't show up to the community till October. And the funds that was dispersed were, I just want to be another option for people to donate and know where their dollars go. I want to be more honest with the dollars than I feel like some nonprofits are. They're only, when you think about nonprofits and you think about donating, you only have a handful of them. And I want Excel Beyond Circumstances to be a household name. I want Excel Beyond Circumstances to have commercials. I want to change kids' lives. I want to be able to donate cars to single parents. I want to change the inner city where people are really hurting and not exploited for grant money.
Ooh, I tell you. Well, I love your why. I really do. Makes me want to come on and volunteer some more.
Come on. We love your energy.
Yes, indeed. Well, Ms. Bell, we hope that we answered that question for you. We got something else?
Yeah, so if you're watching, if you have any questions, feel free to type them in the chat. We'd be happy to get her to answer it. In the meantime, how can people get a hold of you? How can people donate to your nonprofit if they want to?
So you can make a check out to Excel Beyond Circumstances. You can cash app us at $Excel Beyond. You can contact us, info@excelbeyondcircumstances.org. You can look us up, Facebook, we're Excel Beyond Circumstances. Instagram, we're Excel Beyond Circumstances. I have cornered anything you Google, Excel Beyond Circumstances is me.
Well, I want you to tell us where people can, sign up to volunteer. Sometimes people may not have, monetary, but they can donate their time, which is equally as valuable most times.
Time is something that you can't get back. So I definitely, we always need more hands. But you can sign up to volunteer at www.excelbeyondcircumstances.org. That is the website. Put your email address and contact information in the lower, it's at the bottom of the page, and we will definitely get back with you.
Excellent.
Fantastic.
And it seems like you're a bookworm.
And it's,
And that's a great thing because
Yeah.
leaders are readers, right? So,
Yes.
what are some of the books you would recommend that you did explore while you were trying to set up your nonprofit?
Everything I got is for dummies.
oh my God, this is so funny.
I tell people all the time. Sometimes I'm like, you're too smart. Sometimes it's just simple, but really, those dummy books are hardly. It's not layman's terms at all. Like I say, you're reading a lot of hereinto, therefore. If you can read the King James version and you can read Subpoena, then this will be good for you. But I read a lot of nonprofit for dummies, grant writing for dummies. It's the yellow book with little stick figures on them. So those are
hilarious.
We know the brand.
Yep.
I just have to say that question has never been so funny whenever we ask anybody that question. So
anything
thanks.
for dummies. And it's funny, when I first started seeing it, I just start gravitating more to their books. I say, whoever make this brand is amazing. So every time I go, I'm looking for this for dummies, and it's the same company. But yeah, anything for dummies. And their book is yellow. Look for the yellow books, you guys, yellow and black.
Excellent. So we do have a question. It says, I logged in after the podcast started. How can someone volunteer from home?
How can you volunteer from home?
Interesting.
We do a lot of work in the community. I want to say when people log on to donate, like when I just gave the website, logging that information and getting it to us. You know what? I just thought of something. So I have a class. I have 2 courses in the Harris County Jail, anger management and life skills and rehabilitation. And I actually want to organize that some more because the course have actually gotten bigger than I could imagine. And so I want to kind of separate the single mothers, the kids who needs jobs. So actually that will be a new project I'm working on. So the people at home that feel like they want to volunteer and give out something, but they may have kids there, that will be a great way to help me out.
Great question. Really, that's made you think.
Yeah.
And then Kyra.
And thank you. I know that is thank you, Miss Sharonda Cox. I had to realize.
And Kyra says, do you have any unique spellings of your business?
No, ma'am. It is spelled exactly how it sounds. Excel beyond circumstances, and Excel is EXCEL. Some people put 2 L's, but it's only 1. And I need to actually spell check that and see does Excel have 2 L's? Because sometimes
Girl, don't do this to me.
I had to check. I'm like, okay, because I have 1 L, and I think it's the correct way, but it's Excel beyond circumstances.
That's the correct way. And which I applaud you for that, because sometimes when people try to get fancy with the spellings and everything, sometimes people can't find your behind, and that's why. Just spell things the way they're supposed to be spelled.
The way they're supposed to be spelled. Simplicity is the key. Find me.
Well, this has been amazing. Yes. I am just so happy that you were able to come on tonight and share this insight with us and give us really, really great, answers. And this was fun. And the people, had lots of great questions and everything. And honey, you look great, by the way. I love the hair.
Styling and profiling.
It's so easy because my life is really always on the go. So I thought about it, say, how can I be stylish like Michelle DeSalle?
You better, you better tell the truth about this thing, girl.
You the one.
There you go.
Yeah. So if somebody wants to, start a nonprofit, this is going to be a great tool to use. So those of you that are, here asking questions and everything, tell somebody about this episode so that they can get the insight right. Yes. Okay. And we're just really excited that you all are here tonight. Aren't we, Darn?
Absolutely. So, well, we appreciate your time, Meredith. And thank you for everything you do for the community. And I'm pretty sure you're going to be a multi-million-dollar nonprofit in no time.
Absolutely. And thanks everyone that tuned into this episode tonight. Your questions are amazing, and make certain to follow us, subscribe, hit your notification and everything so that you can see these two good-looking people when they're trying to give y'all the business, okay?
Yes. Y'all do look amazing. And I want to say thank you, Darnell, for all the correspondence and talking. And you have a very great spirit. I love speaking with you. And the same with you, Miss Michelle.
Absolutely.
Excellent.
Thank you.
Well, thank you.
So hang out. Don't leave. We can hang out in the studio afterwards, okay?
Okay.
Excellent. Wow, that was so much great information.
I know, wasn't it?
Yeah, I've worked with a lot of nonprofits, and man, she nailed it. Everything step by step.
Yeah.
And so, if that's your heart to start a nonprofit, just do it. Just do it. Like I always say, jump off the cliff and then build the plane as you're on your way down.
Y'all, please don't do it just like that. Please don't do it like that. You might get hurt.
So, and you might fly too. You might excel and end up hitting the moon, right? No.
See, but while they trying to build it, they might forget to pull the cord on the parachute on.
There you go. No, but the key is just step out in faith and trust the Lord and know that He's a provider and He'll take care of you.
Thank you, Beatrice. She said this is awesome information. Well, thank you very much. We do what we can.
Yep. So yeah, if you got any value out of tonight's show, go ahead and smash that like button. Share this with your friends and family. Also, if you're on YouTube, go ahead and subscribe to Finlit Live. We provide a lot of great content like this. And I'm actually really excited about next week. What's happening next week?
Ooh, yeah. We are starting our first financial education seminars in the public library for Aldine. And I'm really excited. That's going to be on the 8th of September. I'm going to be talking to high school and middle school children, teaching them about how money works. I'm so excited about it, aren't you?
Excellent. Yeah. If you have a middle schooler or a high schooler that the school system don't teach them about money, right? They don't teach them at all. And so that's our heart. We want to be able to pour that into young people. That way they could get off to an amazing start. So
it's called Smart Money, right?
Yeah, Smart Money for Teens. So they don't make the same mistakes that I made. And you did well.
Whatever.
I made a lot of mistakes. And so our heart is to help them and not make the same mistakes we did. So
yes. So,
so how can they get a hold of you?
Well, you can reach me at Michelle DeSell, the Wealth Tattletale on Instagram, also Michelle DeSell on Facebook. If you want to connect with your girl on a consultation, go to centricadvisor.com, and I'll be just so glad to chop it up with you.
Excellent. And for me, you can find me on my website, darnaldjr.com. It's DARNALDJR.com. I have a lot of upcoming events, so go ahead and check out that tab. The details about our the teens is on my website, so you could check that out. And so, and you have an event coming up too.
Yes, I do. On the 6th of September, it's Find Your Financial Friend. It is sponsored by Energy Bank. I'm so excited about that. It will be a great panel discussion and be lunch and networking. And you can also, find that. It's posted on my Instagram. And I would love for you all to come out and hang out with me. I'll be your financial friend.
You don't sit still very long, huh?
No, I don't have
Neither
time.
one of us do. Yeah, neither one of us have time to sit still.
We're out here trying to save the world.
That's right. Educating people one person at a time,
right?
One
person at a time. And we're trying to get rooms at a time because that one at a time, it gets hard.
That's true. Got to multiply our efforts.
Yeah, we're going to mass communicate.
That's right.
Remember that part? Oh, brother, we're on top.
So that's the purpose of this. That's why YouTube is an amazing tool too. So we could talk to a lot of people all at once. And so we appreciate you guys for tuning in, and definitely stay tuned next week because it's going to be a fun topic. Yeah. So next Tuesday, 7 p.m. Central Standard Time, same bat time, same bat station. And I took it way back, huh? And we look forward to seeing you guys next week. Have a great day.